What's up? Rob checking in. How's everybody doing? Cheers. Back again with some vinyl finds. Actually, it's been a good couple weeks in the vinyl department. I think I got maybe a dozen records here I'm going to show you. I'm going to go in order of how I found them. I have really good luck at this one thrift store. I try to go to it once a month, and I usually grab something. I've gotten a lot of jazz there. And this case is no different. I did find some jazz there. And then I went to a thrift store, not a thrift store, a record store, maybe a week ago, a few days ago, and found some great stuff. More jazz. About half of these records are jazz, but a couple of these were ones kind of on my want list, my Discogs want list. And then I did get 3 records online, Discogs. 1 new one and 2 used ones. I've explained before, I spend a lot of time on Discogs. I try not to buy too much or I break the bank. But I do like buying newer records that were used, as long as they're stated, very good plus or, near mint, because new records are expensive. Usually at least 20 bucks or 25, 30 bucks, as much as you want to spend on them. But I can usually find them for 15 bucks in almost perfect condition. So that's what I do. Anyways, I'm going to start with these thrifty shopper finds here. I grabbed 5 albums that day for $1 a piece. I'm going to start with the best one. Nina Simone, High Priestess of Soul. I've never seen Nina Simone in the thrift store, so that was pretty exciting. It was a little bit beat up. I don't know if you can see that whatsoever, but actually pretty listenable. After I cleaned it up and played it, it sounds pretty good. This is actually my first Nina Simone album. This is pretty good right here. Excellent voice. What a beautiful voice she has. Head. Chet Atkins, Guitar Genius. I don't know if I would go as far, as to say this album is genius. It's not genius. It is good though. The best track on here being, of course, Heartbreak Hotel, Elvis cover. His brother Jim Atkins sings on this. I didn't have any Chet Atkins. I'm going to play this again. This might stay in the collection. Again, like I said, I like the version of Heartbreak Hotel a lot on this. And it was a really nice copy, so I grabbed that. Beautiful copy. Kind of this RCA Camden label. This is a mono copy. This is pretty old. Early 60s, 1963, but beautiful condition. And it's just okay. I haven't listened to a lot of Chet Atkins, but, I'm trying to go back to some of that. A lot of people pick up, my cat's bothering me here, but they kind of pick up rock and roll and music about 1964, 1965, and after. So I'm kind of trying to go back to some of the earlier stuff, late 50s, and decide what I like from that. Here's a jazz album I found. I'm going to take it out of the sleeve because it didn't come with the outer cover. I found it inside of a different album, but Piano Improvisations Volume 1, Chick Corea. Absolutely beautiful copy. I mean, this is in pretty much mint condition. It looks like it's never been played. Of course, ECM. I have a lot of ECM albums. I usually pick them up if I see them. Especially, I think I got this for 50 cents. So, yeah, this is good. It's kind of background music for me. Solo piano. I do want on a similar note to this kind of. I think this was recorded in the studio, but I have been looking for Keith Jarrett's The Cologne Concert. It's not. It doesn't sound like this. That's much better album, but it's in a similar vein. Solo piano, kind of improvising. Alright, the next two, I got two Dave Brubeck quartet albums. Again, for $1. If I see Dave Brubeck for $1, I'm going to grab that. Jazz Impressions of New York, and plays Cole Porter. Dave Brubeck quartet plays Cole Porter. Anything goes. I actually like both of these a lot. Very, very happy for $1 to add to my Dave Brubeck. I have Time Out somewhere. Obviously a classic. But these were really good too. It's kind of signature style, still on there. So those were my thrift store finds. Again, I'll find that kind of stuff all the time at this one shop. Someone's always dropping stuff off there, and I found a lot of good jazz and whatnot. So I try to stop in there. These next two have been on my want list on Discogs for a long time. They're not necessarily extraordinarily rare albums, but usually if I see them at a record fair or the record store, they're about $15 more expensive, more than I want to pay for them. But Miles Davis, Live Evil. This is essential Miles Davis. I've always listened to this, on YouTube or whatever. I might have a burnt copy of this somewhere, but I've been wanting a vinyl copy for a while, and this is a really nice copy. It's got ring wear. It's been sitting on someone's shelf for a long time, but beautiful condition records. I listened to both sides of this, both LPs of this yesterday. An absolutely beautiful copy. And he had this, in my opinion, way underpriced. This was $10. I don't know what he's doing. Absolutely beautiful. The records are probably very good plus. I don't know if you can see that, but these, like I said, a little ring wear, but I was stoked to have this. Beautiful artwork. This is essential. This is probably, at least of what I've heard, my favorite electric Miles live. This is phenomenal. Live Evil. And the same kind of idea here. I bought it off the same guy. This was, I think, $12. Agharta. Again, way underpriced. He even had it listed as very good plus, which it is, on the Columbia label. Absolutely beautiful copy. I was stoked to find these. This one was recorded a little later, 1974 or 1975, somewhere in there, in Japan. The prelude, the first two sides on this are A1. It does drop off a little bit, intensity-wise, but that's great. I think, this has a sister album, Pangea. which I do not have. I will be keeping my eye out for that. And recorded it the same day. I think it was a music festival, but I've always heard this one was better, Egg Harta, so I'm happy to have this first. If I can get a decent copy of Pangea for a reasonable price, I will definitely grab that. Another interesting thing about this is kind of, he went into a bit of, he was having bad health, first of all. I'm not sure what kind of health problem, but I was doing a little research on this. He was in bad health. He only really does about maybe 4 extended trumpet solos on this. He kind of lets, I forget who's playing guitar on this, but he's phenomenal. Pete Cossey, absolutely brilliant guitarist, very Hendrix-like, and I don't know if it was due to his health, but Miles kind of went into a bit of obscurity after this album, so this is kind of the end of an era, the electric early 70s kind of Bitches Brew era. He changed up quite a bit in the 80s. This is probably one of his last great albums that I've heard. So yeah, 2 Miles Davis albums for relatively dirt cheap is, that's a great day at the record store in my eyes. I bought this used as well. Neil Young and Crazy Horse Ragged Glory, 1990 release. I knew that this was a rare album, so I had a feeling it was a bootleg. It is indeed an unofficial copy, bootleg copy. Sounds okay, except it's a little scratchy. And it doesn't look scratchy, so I don't know if that was a pressing issue or maybe there's just some muck in the grooves. But this album in general is excellent. This and Harvest Moon he had a bit of a comeback there in the late 80s, early 90s. What's the other album I'm thinking of? I don't have it. But this era of Neil Young's great. Again, I'd love to get Harvest Moon on vinyl, and I will one day. I'll probably I'm sure if there's any originals, they go for astounding amounts of money, but I'd like to grab a repress of that. But this is great. Fucking Up, what a good song. Over and Over. Really, just this whole album's good. Ragged Glory. Last thing I got at that thrift store, just kind of one I needed, what I think I would consider a classic, a modern classic, somewhat modern. I guess it's 15 years old now, but Wilco Yankee Foxtrot Hotel. Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, sorry. This thing's excellent front to back. It's my favorite Wilco album. Beautiful artwork on this. It does come with the lyrics, some pictures and all the lyrics. And lyrics are nice to have because he's a lyrical genius, Jeff Tweedy. This is actually my first Wilco album. Next I'll probably grab Sky Blue Sky, or A Ghost is Born. Nels Cline joined the band. I don't know if you're familiar with Nels Cline, but he's in my eyes, a guitar virtuoso, absolutely amazing guitarist. But this is their best album. Every song is good. Just Absolutely phenomenal. This is a classic. 10 out of 10 for me. These last three things are Discogs purchases. I got this yesterday. Mingus. Jazz classic. Didn't have it, needed it. I have several Charles Mingus albums I've found, you know, at thrift stores or wherever, but I didn't expect to find an original of this anytime soon for cheap. So I did grab this reissue. It sounds pretty good to me. Jazz Wax Records. 180 gram, blah blah blah. But just phenomenal. Goodbye Pork Pie hat. It was classic. This is really good though. Better get it in your soul. I mean, 10 out of 10. Jazz Essential, and that was 1959. I think there were some good albums come out that year. Dave Brubeck's Time Out came out. Of course, Kind of Blue came out in 1959. John Coltrane released classic 1959. Next up, I just got this today. Tycho Awake. I just messaged the seller because it did not come with an outer cover. I knew it was used, but he did not state that there wouldn't be an outer cover. Just the inner and the album. Nice poly sleeve, but so I'm gonna have to work something out with the guy. I don't know if he was packing it and forgot the cover. It was packed neatly so it didn't get lost in transit, but I mean, hopefully he can take something off for me. I'm okay, as long as I have the album that's in good shape and I have the song listing, I'm okay with that. But I'll have to figure something out with the guy. Maybe we can cut the price in half or something. I don't know. But Tycho Awake. If you're not familiar with Tycho, they're instrumental. It's somewhat electronic, even though I've seen videos of them live and they play everything live, which is really impressive. It's kind of a little bit, it's atmospheric. There's a bit of ambient here and there, kind of lush atmospheres going on there, and I'd also call it post-punk. Some of the guitars kind of have that that stylistic of some early 80s post-punk. Really good album, Awake by Tycho. Just YouTube that if you don't know him. Last thing I'm going to show today is The Waterfall by My Morning Jacket. This has grown to be one of my favorites by them. This is a return to form. This is my favorite album by them since probably Z. I like all their albums, but I like My Morning Jacket with a little reverb, less electronics. This is great. This is one of my favorite. I haven't even checked this out yet. I just took this out of the package. I just picked this up from the post office, but looks like there's some pictures, lyrics, which is great. This album came out in 2015, so they're probably due for another album here anytime. Yeah, just a great rock band. This is nice here. Poly sleeves, which is excellent. Capitol Records. I'm probably going to play this once I'm done with this video, which is right about now. Thought I'd do a update. Keep up the good work, you guys. I love the videos, and yeah, I'll catch you next time.